It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. Across the web, on Fight Now TV, and on radio stations around the world. It's the only daily boxing talk radio show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of boxing talk radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Caligiero, and it's time for Talking Boxing with Billy C. Good morning, good day, good evening. Whenever you listen, I hope you're doing all right. We close out the week on Friday the 13th. Ooh, that was lame, huh? Today's show is being brought to you in part by BrainHealthForever.com. You guys hear me talking about this. Bottom line is everybody watches what they eat, or they try to, and try to take care of your body by staying in shape, all those things. But how many people really think about, taking care of your brain? It's the most important thing you got, and a lot of people just take it for granted. All seriousness, check out this website, www.brainhealthforever.com. People of all ages, whether you're an athlete or not, whether you're a fat pizza-eating bastard like myself, it doesn't matter. Just check it out. Watch the video. Find out why it's the only patented brain-specific supplement on the market today. Find out why Dr. Oz supports it. Find out why all those testimonials are positive. And then order your 30-day supply today. www.brainhealthforever.com. Today's show is also being brought to you in part by the Southern Gourmet Spice Company and their spice that makes everything taste so much better. Kenny Bear's Barbecue Rub. And no, it's not just for barbecues. Check it out. You can get to order a bottle of Kenny Bear's by visiting our website, www.billycboxing.com, and clicking on the Southern Gourmet Spice banner. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by the Cotto Canelo pre- and post-fight shows that we'll be doing live next week from Sal's neighborhood restaurant and pizzeria in beautiful St. Simons Island, Georgia. I want you to be there with us. Sal is going to have his whole delicious menu available to you, as well as a full stocked bar. You do not have to pay for the fight, just whatever you want to eat, and I'm sure you're going to want to eat. Be part of our live audience. Come on to the show. Give us your thoughts. We're going to be giving stuff away. You'll be getting prizes. You'll be getting all kinds of stuff. Just show up. Have a great time. Watch the Cotto Triple G fight. I'm sorry, a little slip of the tongue. Cotto Canelo fight, which I think is going to live up to its expectations for sure. Now, if you can't make it down to St. Simons, check out the live broadcast. We're going to be doing the pre and post. You can get it on LDL TV. You can get it right here on our YouTube page. You can get it on BillyCBoxing.com. Bottom line, click the Cotto Canelo fight poster up on BillyCBoxing.com for all the information. And today's show is being brought to us in part by what you got to get, everybody on your Christmas list. That's right, my book, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet. It's out there right now. And as of Sunday, it's going to be available up on Kindle and everywhere else you can get them there, electronic, their books. But if you're looking to get the old-fashioned one, the one that you can hold and stick into a stocking, visit Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com. Or if you're looking to get a signed copy, and I'll personalize it any way you want, visit our website, www.BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the book club section. And while you're at it, check out the other books in there, all good ones. I'm going to open up the phone lines here in a little bit, not right away, because I got a lot of news to talk about. I got an email, and we didn't get to do a live show yesterday, and we won't be doing live shows on Thursday nights anymore. We are working on putting together a morning show for Thursdays, and it's going to encompass some other sports as well. A lot of people want it. I know the boxing diehards don't, but we're trying to keep everybody happy as best as we can. Remember, if you're watching this stream someplace, YouTube or Ustream or wherever, make sure you visit our chat room if the show is live, which it is right now. Our chat room is up on BillyCBoxing.com. Now, I know there's other chat rooms, and I know that there's traffic in there, but if you want your comments discussed, come on over to the chat room on BillyCBoxing.com. And speaking of YouTube, if you are part of YouTube and you're watching it, do us a favor and subscribe. We've made a commitment to Google and YouTube, and one of the things is I want to get more subscribers, so check that out. Oscar De La Hoya is in the news today. A scathing, or I should say some scathing comments about Floyd Mayweather in this month's Playboy magazine. All I could say is he hit it on the head, man. I mean, I'm gonna get you his comments in a little bit. I love it because it's all true. Now, this is all coming as a kind of stemming from Floyd Mayweather's comments last week or earlier this week about how he feels boxing is trying to get a Caucasian as champions and kicking the black fighters to the curb, which we all know is BS. Floyd Mayweather is basically, in my opinion, a black racist. And the truth of the matter is that most of the world champions are black. They're the better fighters, and they're the champion. It doesn't matter the color of the skin or the nationality or any kind of religious preference. If you're the best in your division, hopefully you're the guy wearing the belt. Now, if you're not wearing a belt and you're the best in the business, personally, I don't think it has anything to do with the color of your skin. I think it has to do with whatever political connection you have in the boxing world. And for Floyd to come out and say the comments that he did were very racist, in my opinion. And Oscar De La Hoya has really, he hit home a lot of stuff. I think he told it like it is, but it goes deeper than that. How about Adrien Broner? Did you catch some of his comments? Apparently Floyd is acting like a clown to everybody, even people that were somewhat close to him. I'll get to that a little bit later. Andre Ward, I wasn't even thinking that Andre Ward was still a world title holder. I mean, the guy hadn't fought in 18 months. He fights some slug. And, what type of sanctioning body would possibly still keep a belt around his waist? Oh, that's right, the WBA. I'll get to that a little bit later. The Turning Stone card that's taking place, which will be broadcast on HBO on December 19th, just keeps getting better and better and better. We'll talk about that. Nonito Donaire's return on a card with Felice Verdejo, both of those guys and their opponents. The Tony Zale family has issued a reward to anyone that will help find the thieving bastards that took the Zale belt from the International Boxing Hall of Fame up in Canastota. The WBC wants to, we talked about it earlier in the week, they want to have a tournament to fill some vacancies, specifically their welterweight and junior middleweight titles. And Demetrius Andrade is ready to step up to the plate and fight whoever. We got some other news, including Miguel Cotto. I've been doing some opinions, comments, statements. You'll probably see them around the internet, what my thoughts are on this fight and who's going to win and why. And I got some information on why I believe my opinion is correct. Some statements that Cotto is making, which we'll get to hopefully later on. Joseph Parker, the big heavyweight from the land down under, he's already got his next two fights scheduled. And it's kind of ironic. There's a connection to yours truly with his two opponents and LDL TV, so we'll get to that a little bit later. And all of that stuff is coming up. I'm going to try to open up the phone lines and get your thoughts on some stuff. We want to get going here, so let's get going right now. We got an email. This one's from Alex Mayweather. He says, "Hey, Billy C, how's it going?" It's going good, Alex. How's it going with you? He says, I have a few questions and some thoughts. My first question is, with HBO and Triple G, if his next fight is not with Canelo or Cotto, do you think it's going to be a pay-per-view? Alexander says, I just don't see the names out there that could constitute a pay-per-view. And also, how come at some point, why didn't Tyson fight Riddick Bowe? Yeah, Tyson was in jail for some years, but when he got out, Bowe wasn't too far gone from his fight with Holyfield. And then my final question is, did you watch the 30 for 30 chasing Tyson, and what were your thoughts on it? Thanks for your time, and like always, I love your show. Thanks for taking the time to email me, Alex, and I'm going to take the time to respond. First of all, the Triple G, if he doesn't fight the winner of Cotto Canelo, is it a pay-per-view? The truth of the matter is that his pay-per-view in his last fight with David Lemieux, I was totally wrong. I thought that they would do 300 to 500,000 buys, and I was way off. They did it 150,000. So the drawing power, I guess, for him isn't there yet. It's kind of surprising to me, to be honest with you, because of how many people I talk to that absolutely love Triple G. The guy is an exciting fighter to watch. You could think of a lot of exciting fights that he's been in already. And he sells out no matter where he is, and that's another thing. He travels well. No matter where he fights, he sells out. Which is an indicator that he's popular. So I really don't understand why that pay-per-view didn't do much better. Now, with that said, if they were able to schedule a fight like, let's just say, the winner of Peter Quinlan and Daniel Jacobs, if the winner of that fight fights Triple G, or the winner of Andy Lee and Billy Joe Saunders signs to fight Triple G, I could see it being a pay-per-view. I think that the only three names that could even justify a pay-per-view would be the winner of Cotto Canelo, the winner of Andy Lee, Billy Joe Saunders, and, of course, the winner of Daniel Jacobs and Peter Quinlan. Now, obviously, that's six names, but only one will, rise from each of those fights. So there'll be a total of three names, and I could see all three of them being a pay-per-view. How well it does is a whole nother ball game. In a perfect world, it would be nice to have the winner of Peter Quinlan, Daniel Jacobs, fight Triple G as a unification fight, and have Al Heyman and the PBC involved somehow, and do a pay-per-view. I mean, we can dream, can't we? But that's what I think on that. As far as the Mike Tyson and Riddick Bowe, some crazy stuff about why that fight never happened. Mike Tyson obviously wasn't in his prime when he got out of jail. He had other things on his mind, and at the time, Riddick Bowe was, he made some mistakes too. I think Riddick Bowe would have gone down, even though he's a Hall of Famer, I think he would have gone down even better in boxing history if he wasn't with Rock Newman. I think Rock Newman was a driving force in Riddick Bowe's lack of stardom, I guess. But Mike Tyson was focusing on the biggest money fights for him, and those obviously were the Holyfield fights. And due to the outcome, all the things changed. And then the only big fight that was left after that was the Lennox Lewis fight. And finally, as far as the 30 for 30 chasing Tyson, I did catch some of it. And it brought back memories. It makes me feel, the way you're watching that video and stuff, boy, has technology changed. You look at You look at that video, the video of the Tyson and the preliminary stuff and some of the interviews and stuff and the way the TV interviews were and the quality of the picture. It made it seem like it was the 70s or the 80s, and it was the 90s, So, it made me feel old. But, hey, listen, I was always a big fan of Mike Tyson, and I still am. And, Mike Tyson, what made him so successful, aside from his boxing ability, was that he was a character. People loved him or hated him. He was one of the only fighters that I know that you fight 30 seconds and people walk out of the arena, they're not complaining they didn't get their money's worth, So Mike Tyson, 30 for 30, it's just it's just crazy that it's been that long already that they're doing specials on the life and history of that. Now, a lot of that footage, I'll give you a little connection to this show. A lot of that footage that was seen on that 30 for 30 about Mike Tyson, specifically the bite fight and all of that, my man, and I want to give him credit, but my man, John, from LDL TV, did a lot of that background work with Don King Promotions to isolate and cut out and get that footage and made it available to the people at ESPN so that they could make that show. So congratulations to my man John and LDL TV for working on that project, and it did come out pretty well. Thanks for the email, Alex. As you know, it's Friday, and we don't do commercials on Friday, so we're going to be rocking and rolling here till we hang it up. Don't forget about following us on Twitter. Now, I say we don't break for commercials. It doesn't mean I'm not going to say some stuff. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. It's at Talkin' Boxing, TALKINBOXING. Oscar De La Hoya. People could say what they want about Oscar De La Hoya, but Oscar De La Hoya, in my opinion, is an all-time great without question. I don't think anybody could argue with me and make a case for me to even consider that I'm wrong with that statement. But one of the reasons why I believe he's an all-time great and will be forever is simple. He busted onto the scene. He was a successful amateur. He busted onto the scene, was in everybody's living room. Everybody loved him. He didn't get the Golden Boy nickname for nothing. But the thing, that you look at with Oscar De La Hoya is that Oscar De La Hoya was a warrior. Oscar De La Hoya did not duck anyone. Not one fighter during his career did he duck, even when he was beyond his career. Even today, when he contemplates making a comeback, his goals and his focal point is on the top dogs. He's always done that. Whether you like Oscar De La Hoya or not, you must give him credit that he has fought the best of the best of the best throughout his career. Nobody can take that away. Oscar De La Hoya is a real fighter, a real history, all-time great in the history of the sport of boxing. He's the type of fighter that young fighters should look at and say, I want to be like him. Forget the success and the money and everything else. And he did have his downfalls, and he picked himself back up from the pantyhose and the drugs and the women and all that stuff. Yeah, he's only human. He liked fishnets. So what? So did, what's his name? Jenner, right? I guess I did different situation. But in any event, all kidding aside, Oscar De La Hoya is a great fighter. And what I like about this guy is that he tells it like it is. And boy, did he tell it like it was and how it is about Floyd Mayweather in December's Playboy magazine. Let me give you some quotes about an open letter that he sent that's getting all kinds of press right now. And I just, I love it. I love it, and I can't get enough of it. Oscar De La Hoya writes this about Floyd Mayweather. He says, you did it. You made it. You made it to the 49-0 mark, a milestone that, like you say, only the great Rocky Marciano reached, but that was actually achieved by many others, including my idol, Julio Cesar Chavez, but who's counting? and now you're retiring again. The first time was after our fight in 2007. This time, you say it's for real. You're serious about hanging up the gloves. On to bigger and better things. So I'm writing you to wish you a fond farewell. Truth be told, I'm not unhappy to see you retire. Neither are a lot of boxing fans. Scratch that. Most boxing fans. Why? Because the fight game will be a better one without you in it. Now, before I go on, I've been saying this. I mean, this is like, if I read this to you and didn't tell you Oscar De La Hoya wrote it, you probably think I wrote it. I mean, I agree with this guy almost on everything that I'm going to read you. So let me move on. He says, let's face it, you were boring. I say congratulations for a guy like Oscar De La Hoya to step up and admit it. The bottom line is that Floyd Mayweather Jr. was one of the most boring fighters I have ever seen in my life. In my I don't know how many decades of following boxing, let alone being in the business for over 30 years. I have never seen a fighter more boring than Floyd Mayweather. Has he been successful in the bank account? Of course he has. Is he a multi-division world champion? Yeah. Is he going to go down in history as an all-time great? Yeah. But that doesn't change the fact that he's not a boring fighter. Again, I'm going to give my man John from LDL TV some kudos. He wrote a great article that was up on BillyCBoxing.com for a while. It's not now, and I'm sure I could put it back up if he could get it. I'm sure it's up on his site, LDLTV.com, where he wrote an article about Floyd Mayweather. And the bottom line is he challenges boxing fans to just think about Floyd Mayweather and a great fight that he was in. When you think of Floyd Mayweather, what do you think of? I think of money. I think of a guy that made a lot of money and was a guy that knew how to manipulate. I see a smoke and mirrors guy. I can't think of one fight where I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Remember that fight? Remember that fight with Floyd Mayweather? Oh man, that was a great one. Oh man, I miss fights like that. Not one can you say that about. You pop a guy's name in your mind. Marvin Hagler, just for argument's sake, Marvin Hagler, bam. As soon as you mention Marvin Hagler to me, a bunch of fights pop into my mind. Of course, the Tommy Hearns fight, the Sugar Ray Leonard fight, the John the Beast Mugambi fight. I mean, all these fights pop into my mind. Great memories. Boom Boom Mancini, great memories. Fights pop in my mind. Mike Tyson. Great memories. You can go back further. Sugar Ray Robinson, many fights pop in. Even Larry Holmes, who I was never really a big fan of. Many fights pop in. Ernie Shavers. I mean, the list goes on and on. Excuse me. You can just mention a name to yourself, and immediately a memory of a great fight will pop into your head. And then when you mention Floyd Mayweather, what pops in your head? What great fight? What exciting fight? Nothing. He fleeced all of you boxing fans, and me included, for the last decade. And he's giving you nothing for your money. He's a con man. That's all he is. Anyway, I'm going to go on reading Oscar De La Hoya's letter. He says, you were boring. Just take a look at your most recent performance. Your last hurrah in the ring, a 12-round decision over Andre Berto. How do you describe it? A bust? A disaster? A snooze fest? An affair so one-sided that one judge's card, Berto didn't even win a single round? Everyone in boxing knew Berto didn't have a chance. I think more people watched Family Guy reruns that night than tuned into that pay-per-view bout. He says, but I didn't mind shelling out the $75 for the broadcast. In fact, it's been a great investment for me. When my kids have trouble falling asleep, I don't have to read to them anymore. I just play them your Berto fight. They can't make it past the third round. I love this. I love Oscar De La Hoya's letter. He says, another reason boxing's better off without you? You were afraid. This is the truth, what Oscar says now, and it's the total hypocritical statement that Floyd made in contrary to this. Him saying that he was criticizing Triple G for not taking risks, for not being a risk taker like he was. Floyd Mayweather never took a risk. The only risk he takes is somebody kicking his ass on the street. He doesn't walk around without his bodyguards. I mean, the only risk he really took was when he bought out Top Rank's contract with him, which turned out to be the smartest move he ever made. Anyway, he goes, you were afraid of taking chances, afraid of a risk. A perfect example is your greatest triumph, the long-awaited record-breaking fight between you and Manny Pacquiao. Nearly 4.5 million buys, more than $400 million in revenue. Headlines worldwide. How can that be bad for boxing, you ask? Because you lied. You promised action. You promised entertainment. You promised a battle of the ages, and you delivered none. The problem is, that's precisely how you want it. You should have fought Manny Pacquiao 5 years ago, not 5 months ago. That, however, would have been too dangerous for you, too risky. You've made a career out of being cautious. You won't get in the ring unless you have an edge. Sure, you fought some big names, but they were past their prime. Hell, even when we fought in 2007, I barely lost a decision. I barely lost a split decision, and I was at the tail end of my career. Then later you took on Mexican megastar Saul Canelo Alvarez, but he was too young, and you forced him to drop much too much weight. I got into this business to take chances. I took on all comers in their prime. The evidence? I lost 6 times to be exact. The mantra of my firm, Golden Boy Promotions, is simple. The best taking on the best. It's too bad you didn't do the same. You took the easy way out. When you weren't dancing around fading stars, you were beating up on outclassed opponents, and he should have added in here, and women too. He says a lot of your opponents were above average fighters, but they weren't your caliber. You're a talented fighter. You're the best defensive fighter of our generation. But what good is that kind of talent if you never test it? I mean, like I said, this sounds like something I wrote. He says Muhammad Ali did it. Sugar Ray Leonard did it. You, not a chance. You spent from the year 2000 to 2010 facing forgettable opening acts like Victorino Socha, Philip Nadeau, DeMarcus Corley, Henry Brussels, and Sharmba Mitchell. There were guys out there, tough, scary opponents like Antonio Margarito and Paul Williams, but you ran from them. Were you ever on the track team in high school, Floyd? Because you would have been a star. Boxing will be a better place without the mouth, your mouth, to be precise, the one that created Money Mayweather. I know you needed that Money Mayweather persona. Before he and Golden Boy Promotions came along, nobody watched your fights. You couldn't even sell out your own hometown of Grand Rapids, Michigan. The mouth made you money. More money than you could spend in a lifetime. Wait a minute. I've seen those 24/7 episodes on HBO. You probably will spend it all. But the mouth doesn't have a place in boxing. Save it for the WWE. Unless you're someone like Ali, whose fights were as scintillating as his banter. Scantily. Well, maybe they typed it wrong. I get, whose fights were as exciting as his banter. All the talk, no entertainment model, cheapens our sport. Boxers should speak with their fists and with their hearts. They don't have to say anything to prove themselves. You're going to have a legacy. You'll be remembered as the guy who made the most money. As for your fights, we've already forgotten them. How much truer can that statement be? His legacy will be that he made the most money. His legacy will be that he retired undefeated. That's it. That's the argument his fans will fight you with today. He makes the most money. He's undefeated. Nobody beat him yet. But they can't tell you about a great fight that he was in because he was never in one. He never was in an exciting fight. Not one. Not one. And I agree with Oscar De La Hoya here that a lot of people have already forgotten his fights. I certainly have. He says, you're moving on to a new phase of life, a second act. I'm sure it'll be nice not to have to train year-round, but I'm wondering what you're going to do. You have a lot of time on your hands, and at the moment, a lot of money. Maybe you'll put your true skills to work and opened a used car dealership or run a circus, or maybe you'll wind up back on Dancing with the Stars. That job was safe, it pays you well, and lets you run around the stage, something you've been doing for most of your career. I can't agree with these comments any more than Oscar De La Hoya. And I, for one, applaud Oscar De La Hoya for putting this in print. And in case you want to check it out, buy a copy of December's Playboy and check it out. Amazing stuff. And I listen, obviously they're not buddies, but what Oscar writes here is 100% true. And I feel the same way. I know a lot of other people do. The only people that don't are Floyd Mayweather Kool-Aid drinkers that are blinded by the truth here. And here's a people could say, well, Oscar De La Hoya is jealous. He's this, he's that. I don't think so. Oscar De La Hoya has enough money. He doesn't need to be jealous of Floyd Mayweather. When all is said and done, Oscar De La Hoya is above Floyd Mayweather in the all-time great pound-for-pound list, in my opinion, anyway. But check this out. Adrien Broner, earlier in the week, my man Coach writes in the chat room, I'm thinking that Adrien Broner is going to fight Mayweather for the 50th, for Mayweather's 50th fight, because nobody on the planet believes that Floyd is actually retired. But then again, he is a scared little bitch, so maybe he will run and hide like scared little bitches do. But Adrien Broner, all of a sudden, and Floyd Mayweather are at each other's throats. I don't know if you caught Adrien Broner video, but he said some crazy stuff that's more of a rambling on instead of a thought out written, well-written letter like Oscar De La Hoya, right? But Adrien Broner said, hey, you said some shit about me winning my 4th title. Well, I learned this shit from you, right? You told me out of your own mouth. You said we're in boxing to get the biggest reward for the less punishment. That's what you told me, Floyd. So for you to go around and talk about one of my accomplishments and downplay that's something that I did, that's fucked up. When ain't no TMT fighter got 4 world championships in 4 weight classes, only you. So how could you downplay some shit that I did? I don't give a fuck if I fought your assistant for my last fight. I'm still a 4-time world champion at the end of the day. When it's all said and done, I'm going to go in the history books as a 4-time world champion in 4 different weight classes if I quit boxing today. Before I go on, isn't that a sad truth, though? I mean, that for all the idiots that think the more titles, the better, this is an example. In a history book someplace, he would go down as a 4-division world champion. And you can't even remember the guy's name he fought to win some of those titles. But anyway, he says, and then you said some shit like, if I'm disrespecting you, I'm disrespecting Al Heyman. But that's a contradicting ass saying, because Al Heyman is the one who got me the fucking fight. I ain't going out and picking these motherfuckers. I don't go out and pick these motherfuckers. I don't go and pick those motherfuckers from Russia. I don't even know those motherfuckers from Russia. I ain't never heard of them. So what you saying, you be ashamed, you wouldn't call yourself a world champion, you're the one disrespecting Al Heyman. And if you said I'm disrespecting Al Heyman, then I'm disrespecting you. So you're disrespecting yourself. How do you want, what does he say? He says, how do you want respect when you disrespect yourself? Come on, Floyd. This shit lame, bro. Pick up your phone and call me. What else can I say? I think between Oscar De La Hoya and Adrien Broner, they've said it all. And then comes the WBA. The WBA is applauding Andre Ward for vacating his super middleweight title. I didn't even know he still had it. I mean, how can the WBA even let him have this title? Now, if you recall, Floyd Mayweather said, the white people in boxing is forcing Andre Ward to give up his title and all of this stuff. And Floyd was saying some crazy stuff about that. And he was sprinkling in Triple G, how Triple G should move up and fight Andre Ward. And Andre Ward apparently thinks a little differently and looks out for himself regardless of his lack of activity. He says, I won the WBA belt for my first pro title fight in 2009. All right? Which I won the belt for my first world title in 2009. He says, I defended it 6 times, and it's been a wonderful ride with the WBA. Gilberto Mendoza and his team have shown me nothing but respect, and I'm looking forward to moving up and hopefully winning the WBA light heavyweight title. The 6 successful WBA titles defenses: Alan Green, Seiko Bika, Arthur Abraham, Carl Froch, Chad Dawson, Edwin Rodriguez. Edwin Rodriguez was his last fight before the last one that he fought. The last fight of against somebody that whatever. Andre Ward moving up officially. Like I said many times, I can't see how he can be considered a pound for pound number one fighter based on his inactivity over the last 2 years, basically. Phone lines are open. What's your thoughts, man? 845-228-8710. 845-228-8710. I can't wait for this card that's happening December 19th. Will be on HBO. Actually, it'll be on HBO and HBO Latino. It's coming at us from the Turning Stone Resort and Casino up in Verona, New York. One of my favorite venues, and I'm going to try to be there ringside. It's a Saturday night, December 19th, and it was announced earlier today that Uniesky Gonzalez will be on this card, which he's going to be taking on V. Chiganonsky. V. Shabaransky, 14-0 with 12 knockouts, fighting out of L.A. So we'll see what happens with that. Don't forget, Gabe Rosado is on that card. He's taking on Joshua Clottey, and that's the co-main event. And of course, the big fight is Bryant Jennings. In my opinion, Bryant Jennings going against Luis Ortiz, and the main event, Nicholas Walters going up against Jason Sosha. All of that stuff happening on December 19th from the Turning Stone. What a card is going to be taking place from there. So don't miss that one. I'm even wondering if I should do a post-fight show rather than sit ringside. So I'm going to make up my decision on that over the next few weeks. Rancis Barthélemy and Denis Shakirov are going to be fighting for a title on December 18th. Plus, also on that card, in a big fight in the cruiserweight division, in my opinion, Krzysztof Lodzarek, who we just removed from our Billy C rankings due to inactivity, is fighting Bibat Shumenov, who's got a belt. What a big test for Shumenov. If Shumenov gets by Krzysztof Lodzarek, I mean, he's right in the mix. I mean, as a matter of fact, he's in the mix right now. But that's a big fight coming at us December 18th. So keep your eyes open for that one for sure. Well, we got some other stuff here to talk about. Felix Verdejo and Nonito Donaire, they're going to be on, obviously fighting in separate matches, but December 11th, Verdejo is going up against Jose Dos Santos, and Donaire is going to go up against Cesar Juarez, who they're claiming is a top-ranked contender. So, hey, listen, we'll see what happens. We know that this fight was the first fight of the additional renewal of the contract that Nonito Donaire signed with Top Rank. However, Felix Verdejo is actually the main event of this card. So it's going to be interesting to see. It will be on True TV, and I believe it's going to be coming to us live from Puerto Rico. So keep your eyes open for another good one in December. To be honest with you, I can't recall a December that has so many good fights on tap for us. Usually December fights never make it, at least with the ticket sales. You know, most people, at least in my experience in, over 3 decades being in the boxing business, anytime the week before, like the last time I would do a fight is actually next weekend would be the fight that I'll be covering down in St. Simons, the Cotto Canelo fight. would be the last fight I would consider doing if I'm a promoter, because once the holiday kicks off, and here in the States, Thanksgiving kind of kicks off that holiday season. You got Thanksgiving, then you got the Christmas holidays, then New Year's, and people just kind of go into that holiday mode. Stuffing your face, drinking, gaining weight, and, putting together all those New Year's resolutions that you're not going to follow in 2016. And then the world gets back to its normal daily grind, including the sport of boxing, sometime after New Year's, early to mid-January. And then we kick off that so-called boxing season again. This year, it seems there's a lot of fights, not only just in quantity, but quality fights for the month of December. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of turnouts that the live venues have. We know that people will watch it on TV. Thank God for technology, DVR, and all that stuff. 845-228-8710 for your thoughts. As you learned earlier in the week from the Boxing Hall of Fame up in Canastota, Tony Zale, his championship and Carmen Basilio, the championship belts were stolen. Carmen Basilio's and Tony Zale, 4 of them total. And the FBI is involved now. The family, the Tony Zale family, it's so important to them, this history, that the family, specifically Ted Zale, which is the nephew and the author of the new book, Tony Zale, The Man of Steel, a book that I read and enjoyed a few months ago. And as a matter of fact, we had Ted and his co-author, Clay Moyle, on the show to talk about the book. They're offering a $7,500 reward for any information leading to the return of the championship belts. They had given me a phone number to contact, and it's actually the Canastota police chief himself, James Zaffi. Now, Dax Khan had written an article that we had up on Billy C. Boxing, but if you know anything about these thieving bastards, give James Zoffi a call, 315-697-2240. Remember, $7,500 reward. So for all you snitches out there that might know who took the belts, you snitch and you get yourself $7,500. But bottom line is, what kind of, I mean, there's nothing you can really do with those belts. I mean, it's not like you can sell them. I'm not sure what kind of value they would have outside of the boxing community, and everybody in the boxing community knows the belts, so it's not like you're going to be able to sell them. To me, it sounds like an inside job. I don't know. It sounds like an inside job to me. Joining me right now is my man Joel. What's up, man?
What's up, buddy? Holly Holm just weighed in. Shredded, ripped, 134 pounds for tomorrow night's pay-per-view.
Wow, she, she's weighed in 10 pounds lighter than she used to weigh in for boxing, and she weighed as much as 154 on a couple of fights that I called for her. So I think she's an extremely live dog in this fight. If she can stand up, if she can stay on her feet, she's got a good chance of winning this fight, because Ronda Rousey's not tiring out Holly Holm, I'll tell you that.
No, I mean, and what was really weird is, I don't know if you care to watch, I can send it to you, but the weigh-ins just now, there was a lot of respect between the two of them. Holm gets on the scale, no problem, and then Ronda Rousey gets on the scale, and she gets right in her face, and then Joe Rogan, who is one of the broadcasters for the pay-per-views, said, on the weigh-in, what was the problem, and she says all that stuff about her respect for me is fake. Tomorrow night or tomorrow morning, because it's going to be Sunday morning, I'm going to show her, that I'm here for a reason, and it's just like, it just makes me hate Ronda even more.
Well, that's her game. That's her head game.
I know.
And I think that Holly Holm, because she's not biting it and she's not, returning it, is getting
under. Exactly.
Well,
correct.
I think that's getting.
In the chat room said that she was like a deer in the headlights. I think she was very calm. She didn't, take up that BS about her, her trying to scare her. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What I was going to say was that I think that Holly Holm is getting in her head by not playing the game, and I think that's an advantage for Holly.
No, I absolutely agree. I mean, it should be good. I tell you, how do you, it's interesting. How do you, maybe some of the Pacquiao cards in Macau were like that, but, because of the 15-hour time difference, it's going to be, some of these fighters are going to be stepping into the cage like 9 in the morning on Sunday morning. I mean, do you think that's tough, or that they get themselves acquainted for that stuff?
Well, you could try to acclimate to times. I mean, many times when my fighters went to like Europe or what have you, and the time difference was there, it was always an issue. But one of the things that these guys can do now, I could guarantee you that both Holly Holm and Ronda Rousey have been in Australia for at least a week or so to acclimate. But what they could also do before they arrive into town is start their training in the States during the time their bodies will be fighting in Australia. So if it's 8 in the morning, then they should start training at 8 in the morning. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I agree. I really wish you would watch it tomorrow, but I know we talked about this a couple weeks ago, and you, unless you were getting together with Sally, you just really don't have much of an interest. And
I'm a boxing guy.
It should be a good card tomorrow.
I'm a boxing guy. I would want. I would want to support Holly because I'm kind of close with that team, but I can't justify it for the one fight. I just can't.
Well, I want to tell you, I heard you. I'm not going to lie to you. I was watching the weigh-ins, so I had your show on mute, but I'm glad I was able to call in, once the weigh-ins ended. But I do want to say that I'm very happy that HBO Latino is picking up a lot of these. I think there's a Rock Nation card on the 5th. Then there's another HBO. I don't know if there's a card also on the 12th, but I know they have the lead-in fights for the Brian Jennings, Luis Ortiz card. I really like that. The Vyacheslav Shabransky versus Yunieski Gonzalez, and you have Gabe Rosado, who I always enjoy watching, versus Joshua Clottey. I really like that they're kind of doing this. They start doing this once in a while, and then they drop off. I really would like them to have some of the better untelevised fights be on HBO Latino like they do with Showtime Extreme for their cards. What do you think?
Well, I think that they're being forced to pick up some of these other fights. I mean, the whole game is changing, Joel. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the PBC and the networks that they've introduced boxing to, and how much they're going to continue. HBO, they were the player. They were one of the ones that actually changed the way boxing was viewed here in the States. Premier Cable Network and their pay-per-views, they were pretty much driving the bus. Now there's some competition, and the only way to keep up with the Joneses is to make sure that you can compete, and they're being forced to do it. Showtime is very successful by putting the undercards on Showtime Extreme. I love that. Unfortunately, I don't like the matchups, but I like the fact that it's available, So, hey, the world is shrinking. Even though it's huge, it's shrinking. What I mean by that is, because of the technologies and the content, the way it was 10, 20 years ago is not the way it is now. So I think the more avenues we have boxing, regardless of the network and who's doing it, I think the better. My worry with something like the PBC is what I've been saying all along. I just want him to stick with it. I just have a feeling that he's just going to walk away after they know they can't recoup that money.
No, I agree. I wanted to ask you an important question. I don't know if you discussed this on the show, if maybe in passing. What do you think the reason is that Ken Hirschman's stepping away from HBO Sports to the end of the year? I mean, sometimes we never know the truth. Sometimes people get fired. I really don't think that's the case. Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think he got a better job? Do you think that, he said something like, I'm leaving HBO Sports in a good position? I agree he is. I don't know, who they will pick up in his position. I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on all that, because you read pretty well with all those issues.
I would love to think that Ken Hirschman has made enough money in his life and he wants to spend the rest of his life with his kids and enjoy life. But, sometimes when you're in corporate America in positions like that, it all becomes about the career. And I would be shocked, totally shocked, if Kenny Hirschman didn't emerge someplace else and got involved with boxing or sports or something else. Maybe it's the whole boxing business. But because he's leaving HBO doesn't mean that he's not going to resurface somewhere else. You could bet your last dollar that he'll be announcing a new position. And we haven't heard much from Richard Schaefer. So
I was just going to ask you. I wonder what is he? You think he's going to come aboard with Al Heyman next year?
I think he's going to come aboard with Mayweather Promotions somehow. I think that the PBC, right now is in limbo kind of, because their deals end early 2016 with these TV networks, and they're hoping that they can get those TV networks to buy their product now based on the viewership. And I'm not so sure that they will. It'll be interesting to see if they do. If they do, then that Kenny Hirschman position could end up being with any one of those networks, because those networks will need a guy like Kenny Hirschman if the tables are changed. See, right now, PBC is paying them to paying the network to bring in their production. If the television network starts to pay PBC for the content, the fights and the shows, now they need a guy to police that, and that's Kenny Hirschman.
They're going on. They announced a couple months ago, I'm sure you heard this, that PBC is going to be on regular Fox next year. I think they were trying to save possibly the Porter. Was the Porter Thurman fight? I think they were going to have that in December, and then they said, you know what? Let me wait till the first Fox card, not Fox Sports 1, but Fox, Channel 5 here in in Westchester, and I find it interesting. Just like you say, they're in the red so much, yet they're popping up with new networks. I don't get it.
They're only in the red because they're shelling out the money. Like their production, their screens, the way they do things, that costs millions of dollars, right? The purses that they're paying. So the PBC has this revenue. They don't have revenue. They have this money that they're spending. They want the revenue. Unless they can continue with great matchups that lead to pay-per-views like the UFC. UFC, they have their weekly or bi-weekly fights, and it leads up to the big pay-per-view. Just like I'm going to rip a page out of Coach's book, just like the WWE with WrestleMania. Same thing. They all year long, every couple of months, they have their fights, and they develop some kind of an interest with one guy against another, and then bam, they do a pay-per-view where they really clean up.
They have. Yeah, I'm a big wrestling fan. They got Monday Night Raw, they got SmackDown. Now they have the WWE Network, and now the pay-per-views are. If you pay $10 a month, you don't have to buy the pay-per-view. You get it part of the network. I agree. I think it's sometimes a little silly, like the whole thing with. I was dozing off last night. I was watching a little bit of Broner's YouTube plea about Mayweather, and I'm thinking to myself, maybe this is all to build up the Ashley Theophane fight. I mean, it's so stupid.
Well, Ashley Theophane, I was a big fan of his, but he's just not an exciting fighter. And while you were watching away, and you missed the whole, you must have missed the whole letter I read from Oscar De La Hoya, which hit
about Floyd Mayweather.
Oh
right?
my God, he hits it right on the head. So go back and listen to that. But,
yeah, I absolutely am.
Yeah, some interesting stuff there, and I can't agree with him anymore, man.
Well, I'll tell you this. Lastly, I was a little disappointed, but I guess you can expect it. The cable providers are charging $59.95 for Cotto Canelo next Saturday. Do you agree with that cost? Do you think it should have been less? I mean, what do you think about that kind of number for a cable provider?
$59.95 for high def.
Cablevision has it the same price either way, but yeah, whatever you want to say, yes.
I think it's reasonable. I
mean,
mean,
I'm going to order it, definitely. I'm not missing that, but I wonder, if some of the more casual fans say, hey, Triple G Lemieux was $50, blah blah blah. But I mean, the real fan, that these are two bigger names. I'm definitely ordering it, but I was a little surprised today. I called Optimum and I asked them, and the guy, I said, let me guess before you tell me. I said, let me guess, $60. He said, yeah, you're right, exactly, $60.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is, man. And hey, listen, I'll be shocked if they don't do 500,000 because Cotto's a draw. Everybody in Puerto Rico.
Oscar's saying $2 million. I mean, or $1 million or something. I heard him say that's a little far fetched. Do you agree about buy rates for that number?
What I was starting to say is you never know. I mean, you got the Puerto Rican-Mexican rivalry. You got a top Puerto Rican fighter who's got a huge fan base in Miguel Cotto, and then Canelo Alvarez is big time in Mexico. A lot of the Mexican fans have walked away from Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Who's the next guy? I mean, Canelo is, he's a superstar at this point. I don't think they're going to do less than $500,000, but $2 million, I don't know about that. But you never know. I don't know. I can't figure out the pay-per-view audience. I was shocked that Triple G Lemieux only did a $150. I don't know.
If you had to guess, you think that the winner, and I'm being serious here, the winner of Canelo and Cotto, since obviously none of them want to fight Triple G at the in the early 2016. Do you think that that's a possible opponent for Floyd Mayweather next year, especially if it's Cotto, because he kind of gave Mayweather a fight? I mean, I feel like if the numbers are big, I mean, my question, I guess, is who do you think would, if you had to give me 2 or 3 people, who would you say would be in the running for Mayweather's 50th fight? Would you say Pacquiao? Because I know I strongly agree with that, but I also feel like it could be the winner of Cotto Canelo, and I know HBO would be willing to work with Showtime and Al Heyman for that. What do you think?
I think Floyd Mayweather's a pussy and a chicken shit, and I think that he would pick the easiest fight for his. Oh 50th.
Yes, I'm sorry, you're right. I forgot. So it has to be somebody from one of the PBC untelevised cards, because you're right. I apologize.
He's not fighting a real fight now. For the significance of beating the winner of Cotto Canelo, especially if it's Cotto, I don't think he fights Canelo again. I don't think he steps foot in the ring against Canelo again. But if Cotto somehow wins that fight, which I don't think he will, as a matter of fact, I'll go on record right now. I think Saul Canelo Alvarez is going to beat the snot out of Cotto. I think Cotto is going to get knocked out in this fight. I think it's going to be a brutal beatdown, and I think he's going to retire on the podium in the post-fight show. That's my prediction. But with that said, I think that you could possibly see Mayweather fight Cotto again, because Cotto's old. We all know his legs are shot, and those are all advantages for Floyd Mayweather. Floyd, if you go back and listen to the Oscar De La Hoya thing I read, Floyd, he hit it on the head. Floyd Mayweather does not take risks. What really pissed me off was his rant about Triple G and kill Whitey, and white America wants Triple G, and he doesn't take risks. He's like he did. Floyd actually said that he took risks in his career, and he's a fraud. He could go down in history as being one of the best smoke and mirrors guy in the history of the sport of boxing, with his cherry picking and everything else. So I don't know. I don't even care about Floyd and who he's going to fight. I'm looking forward to Triple G fighting the winner of Cotto Canelo, or Triple G fighting the winner of Quinlan Jacobs, or even Triple G fighting the winner of Andy Lee, Billy Joe Saunders. Any one of those fights, I think, are good for the sport, and certainly good for the middleweight division.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I'm not Puerto Rican, but I like to consider myself a Puerto Rican Jew, in the sense that I love Miguel Cotto. He's been one of my first fighters that I really enjoyed and have a lot of respect for since I got into boxing in 2006. I hope you're wrong, but I tend to feel you are right. He is going to beat Canelo is going to beat Cotto, but I'm hoping you're wrong. But lastly, I just want to ask you, now the Jets lost last night, that sucks. Are you interested in any of the small boxing cards this weekend, or you're going to take a pass and just go to sleep at your regular time this weekend between tonight and tomorrow? Anything you're interested in?
I'll be watching all the fights that are I can watch, that are on that are being televised. I'll watch them. As far as my Sunday. I mean, I'm a football fan, so I still watch football. Yeah, the Jets suck. They choked.
I was disappointed with that last night. I'm a little colorblind. I couldn't even see those jerseys, the red and the green, that well. When I saw a game came on. I was like, what the hell? Who's with this bright red? It was like a Christmas red. But when I saw the last play and they intercepted it or whatever, it was disappointing. I was disappointed. But not to get off topic. Yeah, I think I don't know what I'm going to do tonight, but I don't know how interested I am in the Michael Seals fight. I think it's a joke. Tomorrow night I got UFC, but I can. Lastly, I'll leave you with this: is I'm going to definitely be watching Cotto Canelo. There is a free UFC card next Saturday, but boxing takes a precedent over that. Well, listen, buddy, I'll let you go. I hope you have a great weekend. So there won't be any show next Thursday, correct? Or at all from going on this show from Thursday?
We're scheduled to definitely have a show Monday. We're going to try to arrange to have one Tuesday as well, but definitely Monday. Then we got the travel week, then Thanksgiving the week after.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
So really, we are going to do the show at least Monday. We're going to try to squeeze in Tuesday as well. I actually leave Wednesday, but we will be back full swing the Monday, November 30th.
30th, yeah. And you're going to send out the Billy C Challenge? You'll still be doing that
next
week?
Yeah, that'll
awesome.
all go out.
All right, buddy, listen, I really appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Thanks for all your time. I'll try to call next week, but that's it, buddy. I really appreciate your time, and that's it. Thank you so much.
All right, take care, Joe.
Take care, buddy. Bye.
That's my man, Joel, the MMA fan, talking about Holly Holm and Ronda Rousey's weigh-in. No, I'm not going to watch it. I mean, I kind of was interested in it, but I'm not going to watch it. Demetrius Andrade is, by the way, the phone line is open, 845-228-8710. I'll try and take another caller or two. Just try to make them fairly quick. I wasn't going to, just whatever you got on your mind. Demetrius Andrade, if you recall, the WBC said that they want to try to see who's willing to get involved with a tournament of sorts to crown the new champions for both the welterweight and junior middleweight divisions. And because of the political landscape of the sport of boxing, they got to reach out to the fighters that are in their rankings and see who's willing to fight who. Are they willing to get in a tournament? Who's going to televise it? Blah, blah, blah. All of that stuff. So we will see that. But I will tell you this. I'm excited that Demetrius Andrade is willing to get in the tournament. I have someone on the line right now. Is this Mike from Michigan?
Yes, it is, Billy.
Hey, Mike, what's up, brother? What's on your mind today?
All right, I'll be real quick and to the point because I have medication under my mouth because I'm sick, okay? So I am going Cotto over Canelo in 12-round decision. I think he wins almost every round. I'm going the opposite of you.
What do you want to bet? You want to put a friendly wager on it?
Yeah.
What do you want to do? What do you want to bet on it?
Well, first off, I'd like to tell you that I don't even like Cotto. I actually kind of like Canelo, but styles make fights. I don't think Cotto's legs are shot. I know I sound crazy right now, and I apologize, but I feel like I sound like Mike Tyson. I don't know. Wager me something. I don't know how to bet. You know that.
Well, I'll think of something and I'll drop you an email. But it sounds good to me.
Okay, I'm going the strong opposite way you're going.
All right.
Exactly the opposite. Okay.
That sounds good. What'd you
All
think?
right.
Real quick, what'd you think of Oscar De La Hoya's comments on Floyd Mayweather?
I loved it. Absolutely loved it because I hate him. He's a flaming pile of dog. I can't swear. You know what I'm saying. You know how much I hate Floyd, so you know how much I love that letter. However, I feel it was slightly hypocritical.
How could it be?
Hypocritical is not the word.
How could it be hypocritical? Oscar De La Hoya has never ducked anybody in his career. People could say people.
Not in that sense, Billy. Not in that sense. I know he never ducked anybody. He fought everybody at their prime. I just think that there's something off about it. Okay, there's something. I can't put it into words, but there's something that rubs me slightly the wrong way. I love it, 99% love it, but there's 1% of me that feels there's something weird about it, okay?
All right, well,
That's all.
it sounds good, but go get better and whatever you got, Novocaine or whatever. I'll come up with a bet and I'll drop you an email.
All right, and I will take that bet and I will win that bet. All right?
All right, sounds good, my man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
Take
Bye.
care. That's Mike from Michigan. We're going to come up with a bet. Maybe I'll put a copy of my book on the line or something. Or maybe he's got a copy. I don't know. But we'll see what happens. Phone line she's open. 845-228-8710. They've decided that all this talk about Kovalev and Stevenson fighting and Kovalev down the road to fight Andre Ward, and they both got to win 2 fights in front. Well, it was announced today that Sullivan Barrera, who signed with Main Events and who missed out on an opportunity as a title elimination fight, he's been ordered to fight Karo Murat on December 12th, and then the winner of that fight scheduled to fight Kovalev. So we got that going on. So at least some of the fights are being mapped and laid out for us. So we'll see what happens there. Another thing I wanted to mention real quick is on Friday, December 11th, another card. They're all rivaling each other. This one's on Showtime. 8 fighters, all undefeated, will be on a Showbox card coming at us from Houston. That's being promoted by Lou DiBella in association with Lou Savarese. Remember him? Lou Savarese, the heavyweight that everybody loved to kick the crap out of. Joining us right now, Dax Khan. What's up, man?
What's going on? I'm a little mad at Joel over here in the chat room. He failed to tell me that he was calling in to interview you today.
Oh, yeah. Well, it happens.
I love when Joel says, before I let you go, Bill, one more question.
It's like Columbo, right? But
yeah, right? It's like he pops back into the chat room and wait 1 minute before I let you go. One more thing.
Yeah. So what's going on?
Some busy things. Well, first of all, the Oscar De La Hoya letter.
I love it.
Well, that's a thing, and you said it a second ago when you were on the phone there with Mike from the bookstore that Oscar De La Hoya is a guy that has the right to criticize anybody's resume. He really does, because there's not a top name that Oscar De La Hoya didn't fight. Win or lose, Oscar always called them out, and that was the thing. I mean, you name it, you go down everywhere, from the end of his career when it was Pacquiao, Mayweather, Hopkins, Sturm, Campos, going all the way back. And remember, he started as a super featherweight as well.
Oh, I listen, there's nothing you can say, in my opinion, nobody could say anything about Oscar De La Hoya inside the ring. They might comment on his, fishnet stocking color choice, but, as far as boxing.
Don't make me, now, just leave Oscar alone. Don't make me get photoshopping again.
Well, I'm just saying, his points were 100%. Floyd was earlier in the week, Floyd was being critical of Triple G, of Triple G not taking risks like he did, meaning Floyd. And I thought that the timing with Oscar De La Hoya's letter was perfect, because, there's a guy that all you got to do is think of Oscar De La Hoya and all those fights, like those opponents you just mentioned that just flowed out of your mouth. Most of them were all good fights, that are memorable fights. You think of Floyd Mayweather, I can't think of one memorable fight. The first thing that pops in my mind is his sucker punch of Victor Ortiz, and then all the rest of the fights are boring, all disappointments, all anticlimactic. I'm sorry. I agree with Oscar 100%.
You remember, a layover, a lot of guys, when you talk about a stay busy fight, they're fighting somebody who's ranked 20th, or it's something that they're doing to look good. For Oscar De La Hoya, a state busy fight was somebody like Arturo Gatti. That was a state busy fight for Oscar De La Hoya. A tune-up fight was before he was totally shot. A Ricardo Mayorga. That's what Oscar De La Hoya did during his career. And there's not too many people we can say that have done that in the past 20 years. Now, as far as Triple G goes, there's a guy, he gets kind of an unfair, he can't win for losing. He's the exact fighter, Bill, that everybody complains about that they want. He provides the knockouts that, everybody loves, and then they complain that he's not fighting nobody. Yeah, he's fought everybody that asked for him. Remember, we were sitting right up there in Canastota when Willie Monroe Jr. sat on the show in front of Graziano's talking about how he wanted Triple G. Triple G answered it. Curtis Stevens wanted him. Triple G answered it. David Lemieux wanted him. Triple G answered it. So it's not like anybody's come knocking on his door, and he's like, you keep on knocking, but you can't come in. Good boy. You know what I mean? So you can't blame the man for it.
No, and he can only be criticized for not fighting someone that he has the opportunity to. Jacobs and Quinlan and some of the other middleweights. None of them want any part of Triple G. So I don't blame it on Triple G.
Then you got Ward talking about Triple G, Triple G, Triple G, Triple G. He said my name once. I want to fight Triple G. Where's Triple G? I'm going to sit here behind this announce table, and I realize that Chocolito Gonzalez is in the ring, but I'm going to talk about Triple G. And then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to jump up to light heavyweight, and I'm going to sit there and fight a blown-up super middleweight that lost to Arthur Abraham not too long ago. Then I'm going to talk about Triple G, Triple G, Triple G, and then I'm going to vacate one of the 75 WBA titles that are in the super middleweight division, and now I'm going to stay at light heavyweight, and I'm not going to go anywhere near Kovalev. I'm not going to go anywhere near the Beterbieves. I'm just going to sit around and talk about Andre Ward. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to prove to Roy Jones that you can refer to yourself as the fourth person, not just the third.
Well, the thing with Andre Ward is that he is on a collision course with Kovalev, so at least there's some light at the end of the tunnel with him. So we'll see him in the ring with Kovalev at some point the end of next year. So... the Triple G obviously isn't going to happen, but Kovalev will.
But they're talking. That's the problem, Bill. It's all the talk.
It's the talk from people that, like Floyd. Floyd trying to, rock the ship a little. Get everything going. But anyway, what's your quick thoughts? I know we'll get a chance to talk next week, but quick thoughts on Cotto Canelo.
Another thing that Oscar De La Hoya kind of summed up perfectly is he said, how long can Cotto stay on his toes?
This is true. That's what. That's my prediction.
How long can he stay on his toes?
He can't. His legs are shot. Cotto's going to do just like you and I talked earlier. Cotto's going to try to knock him out, like you said. You said earlier, I think that was you that said. Cotto tries to attack his opponents and knock him out quick. I mean, he's more aggressive in these last several fights, and I think he's going to do the same thing to Canelo, but that's exactly what Canelo wants him to do. That's what Canelo's strength is. I don't know.
That's the thing. He's going to break him down, and yes, that's when you look at Miguel Cotto, and again, in the past, there's a guy who has paid his dues. There is no way that you can't say that he's paid his dues because he has. Cotto was a guy much like Oscar De La Hoya, who fought everybody. And then what happened was Miguel Cotto took two vicious beatings. And make no mistake about it, they were horrible beatings, and he went out on the shield. Now, if you're around the sport long enough, you know enough fighters. It doesn't matter how courageous they are. It takes a special kind of fighter. Again, like somebody like an Arturo Gatti or a Mickey Ward. If you want to use guys from this era, to be able to sustain the type of beatings that Miguel Cotto sustained and come back and not seem affected mentally. There's no way you're going to say that the beating he took from Antonio Margarito, and then not even a full year later, I don't believe it was, maybe a little bit over a year later, the beating he took from Pacquiao, they were sustained beatings. And you've seen the look, especially in the Pacquiao fight. You look at a fighter's eyes, and that always tells a story. He was a defeated fighter in the ring. His eyes were a defeated fighter. you see around, the 10th and 11th round, there was a guy that was just, he wasn't going to, just give up, but he was hoping, in his eyes at least said, you know what, I just hope that this guy ends me because, I'm too macho, because he is a fighter at heart, just, to take a knee or, sit in my corner and say no. But then, once he went to junior middleweight, look as that's when you started seeing the pattern there. That's when you seen the changes. Yuri Foreman, who's a great guy that I see all the time up to Give a Kid a Clean Foundation. Yuri Foreman wore a leg brace into the ring. Blame the champion because you know what? He went in there. He didn't have to. He could have waited, and that's how Miguel Cotto got his win. And then Antonio Margarito. There's a guy that was already damaged by Pacquiao. So Margarito, it wasn't so much what Cotto did that inflicted it. It was already the damage on there that, allowed him to get that stoppage. The Mayweather fight, I still believe to this day, and because I remember sitting there watching that fight, and, and the way Mayweather was almost amused at the fact that, Cotto kind of gave him a bloody nose, I really think that Mayweather kind of made that fight look a little bit better than he had to. I think Mayweather could have, dominated that fight without a single problem. I was there at the Austin Trout fight. Austin Trout had no problem with Miguel Cotto. Then he comes out after the Trout fight, and that's where we see the thing that he's doing now. He fights Delvin Rodriguez, who Delvin has a lot of heart. Everybody likes Delvin, but, he comes out and he blasts Delvin out of there. And then he has the Martinez fight. It takes him 10 rounds to blast out a one-legged Martinez. And then Daniel Gilly gets him out of there in 4. So, this is a guy who was not only physically shot, but I believe he's mentally and psychologically shot, because if Miguel Cotto goes after 5 rounds against somebody he can't dominate, he's breaking down, he's wilting down inside, and Oscar De La Hoya has it right on the head. How long can his legs last him, especially now? And that was me and you who were speaking before. Every single fighter that's ever fought Canelo, and every fighter that I've spoke with that's fought Canelo afterwards, and I've asked them, how is his body work? And they've all said the same thing. When he starts hitting you to that body, he hurts you. When I was at the Josecito Lopez fight, you can hear Josecito, grunt from it. Shane Mosley, a guy who was always able to take punches, he said, first thing he said after that fight, I can't be getting beat up by this kid.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen to Cotto. And you know what? Alvarez didn't, what are you going to say? I'm not a middleweight?
No, listen, I agree. I think Cotto is, he's 35 years old. He's already talking about retiring. He says he's done in a year. He says that he promised himself he was going to retire when he hit 30. He's 35 now. He's been in wars. I think that Freddie Roach has kind of helped smoke and mirrors a little bit with Cotto, and he's been on the right side, like you mentioned with Martinez and his injury, and fighting guys that are shot. He's fighting a young gun next week, and
Freddie Roach is another one. He's hanging on, Bill. Freddie Roach has got one step, out of the sport. There's a guy that's just hanging on, and he's desperate, to stay relevant. And, Miguel Cotto is his last top fighter, his last superstar. Manny Pacquiao is never going to regain what he ever was. Manny Pacquiao, is he still a pound-for-pound fighter? Yes. But, the relationship between Manny and Freddie, seems to have kind of dissipated, a few years ago. We kind of see that, Manny Pacquiao kind of outgrown Freddie Roach. Freddie's more like the employee now than the good friend that they used to be. And so Miguel Cotto's his last thing to the limelight. But how many of Roach's fighters now? They don't excel anymore, because Freddie Roach only knows one style of training. He knows how to do nothing but offensive output. And something, that's what Miguel Cotto can do, and Miguel Cotto's always been great at it. Miguel Cotto did incorporate defense into his style, especially after he took that Pacquiao beating. But again, the body's been beaten up so much. He's got so much behind him, not only physically but mentally. You got Freddie Roach, who's one-dimensional. Freddie Roach, I haven't seen him in years be able to give a game plan in the middle of a fight for one of his fighters to adjust. This is a recipe for disaster. This is a cash-out fight, and I think Miguel Cotto is going to go out, and he's going to go out hard. And Canelo Alvarez is going to, he's going to make a statement that night, and Canelo Alvarez will fight Triple G because Canelo Alvarez, his mentor, is Oscar De La Hoya, and he has that same mindset as Oscar. I want the best. Win, lose, or draw. I want to fight the best because nobody's ever going to tell me I didn't earn my money.
No, my only hang-up with Canelo is the talk that he's going to only fight Triple G at 155, which bothers me because if Canelo does win, he's going to be the world middleweight champ. And that middleweight division, as far as I know, is the weight limit's 160. The WBC has already ordered that the winner of the Cotto-Canelo fight has to start negotiating within 15 days at the conclusion of the fight. So theoretically, before the first, second week in December, we should have some kind of update on how those negotiations are going and an idea of when that fight will take place.
Well, remember what Miguel Cotto did now. Remember what Triple G has been his mandatory ever since he beat Marco Antonio Rubio for that title. And so Miguel Cotto's been threatened to be stripped several times, and then every time, he would wait until Triple G entered and it became publicly known that he was in negotiations with somebody else, and then, he'd always have something to say, I'm going to fight him, and then he waits until Triple G has that big fight coming up, and then what's he do? He fights Daniel Geale. That Daniel Geale, as much as Daniel is a world-class boxer, he's not a guy that, has a great chin. He is limited in his ability, but, he is, the B level of, the championship status, I guess you would want to call him. And, that was a fight to make him look impressive. Daniel Geale was carefully planned because look how quick I got Daniel Geale out of here, and look how long he lasted with Triple G. And then afterwards he comes up with the comments of, do I look like a middleweight? He was offended when the fire that went into his eyes when they asked about Triple G's name, and nobody's going to tell me who to fight. And you know what, Miguel Cotto? Then you know what? You're not a real champion anymore because you fight who you have to, and that doesn't mean that you cherry pick everybody out there. You have a mandatory. Fight your mandatory, and if you're mandatory, you're not going to fight them, then vacate your title. Be a man, and that's what you got to do. So after this, I think Miguel Cotto might want to lose, Bill, because I think Triple G scares him, shakes him right down to the bones.
Triple G has a tendency to make a lot of fighters nervous, that's for sure. But, hey, Dax, before we let you go, we got some fights this weekend I wanted to get your quick thoughts on. The one tonight, Edwin Rodriguez against Michael Seals. This fight is a joke with a capital J, but, Edwin Rodriguez isn't exactly a world beater himself. Does Michael Seals have a chance?
Edwin Rodriguez, here's a kid that, I at one point in time, I had a lot of high hopes for him. And so, but, lately, he's been fighting these journeymen. And, and he hasn't been overly active since the Andre Ward loss. And so I think unless he can go in here and he can knock out Michael Seals, I don't think he's going to win tonight. I really don't. I think, Michael Seals is a hungry fighter. He's 33 years old. He's nothing really special himself, but, he knows that, he has to come out here and he has to let it all hang out. And I think that's what he's going to do tonight, is let it all hang out. And I really just don't think that Edwin Rodriguez is as serious as he once was about the sport.
Edwin Rodriguez had his best days at super middleweight, too. So now he's fighting bigger guys. But tomorrow night, Frank Galarza against Jared Hurd. Another typical Showtime fight, classic side A and side B fighter. Does Hurd have a chance against Galarza?
No. Yeah, I don't think so at all. I like Frank Galarza as a fighter. We spoke about him for a couple of years, between you and me. Just having conversations about the sport. I just, the only thing with Frank Galarza that I worry about is I think they're holding him back a little bit too much. And I think he's got 21 fights now. They got to let this kid up his opposition. He's not a kid anymore in the terms of fighter years. I think he's 31 years old, and he's never really fought a name. So against Jared Hurd, is he going to win? More than likely, because Jared Hurd, who's Jared Hurd ever fought? I don't think he's ever beaten an opponent with a winning record. So, Yeah, Frank Lars is going to win that one, and it is kind of frustrating because, this is a kid that could be in the big fights. Frank Lars could be in that mix. He could be one of these guys that, could be up there. He should have, been a world title challenger already. So I don't know what his people are doing wrong with him, and that's frustrating to watch the way they're flushing this kid's career down the toilet for him.
One other thing I wanted to ask you, actually two things, but Bermain Stavern is going up against Derek Rossi. He's actually on that card, but he didn't get the cut for the TV broadcast, which kind of shocks me. The fights that they are putting on television, there's nothing wrong with Stavern against Rossi. I'm shocked, especially a heavyweight division, former world heavyweight champion, a former world heavyweight title challenger in Derek Rossi. I mean, what do you think is the real reason they're not putting this fight on?
The drawing power. There's really no, Berman, the way he went out against Deontay Wilder was horrible. And, it was almost embarrassing. And, Derek Rossi, as much of a fan I am of Derek, Derek's always been throughout his whole career underestimated. He's been robbed in a lot of fights. We do know that for sure. But, his last fight, he lost pretty handily to Trevor Bryant. And so, there's really there's nothing there that these guys, the promoter and Showtime, there's nothing there for them to build up. Remember, you say yourself all the time that Stavern is a fighter whose whole career was based off of those wins of Chris Arreola, which is 100% true. I don't disagree with you there. So right now there's another fighter on that card who they're really trying to build up, and rightfully so, because this is a kid that I could possibly see in another year or two, going against a Triple G, and that is Sergey Derevchenko. So, there's a reasoning behind there. Now, if it was, I see maybe if Derevchenko wasn't on the card, I think that might be build up on there. But Derevchenko's going against a tough customer in Jesse Nicolo, and it's going to be a performance that makes him look good, and it's going to be something that allows these guys to set up a big main event down the road. Yeah,
to me it's strange. You got a former world champion in heavyweight division, the division everybody wants, and they're on the back burner. One last thing I want to ask you is actually the best fight of the weekend doesn't have TV coverage, in my opinion. Thomas Fallow going up against Russ Lamore in a rematch. I know the first one was a pretty exciting fight. What's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I wish that would. I wish that that did get some coverage. I think that Fallow, I think that he should be able to, win this one. That's one of those things where it's frustrating. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. I really don't. I think that Russell Lamore is going to win this one because the last one, I think that was at Foxwoods, and that was on the. I'm trying to remember who the main event that night was. I think that was the night that Carl Dargan actually lost to Tony Lightning Lewis, and I think that that Russell got a little bit of a nod because he was home, and I think that this is going to. Fabo got a little bit of a nod because he was home, and now we're going to be fighting up in Russell Lamore's home state. I believe he is from Maine, and this is going to set up something for a trilogy. But it's definitely a good fight because these two kids are both, especially Russell Lamore. He's a kid that is trying to make a name for himself. How good he is really, I'm not really sure. Not really sure how good Thomas Fallow is. But you know what? It doesn't always have to be the elite fighters. It doesn't always have to be the top of the top to make the best fights. As well as I do. Some of the best fights we've ever seen in our lives are against two guys nobody's ever heard of. It's never been televised, and a lot of times it opens up the card of some small club show that really, when people are still walking in trying to find their seats, this fight is going on, and it's the most memorable one.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. Dax, thanks for your insight, and we'll be looking forward to you on Monday as well.
Absolutely, Monday. Talk to you soon. Everybody have a good weekend.
All right, take care. That's my man, Dax Khan. You can check out his column up on BillyCBoxing.com. We were talking earlier about Oscar De La Hoya his scathing letter, open letter to Floyd Mayweather, which I agree with 100%. Earlier in the week, he and Jay-Z. Now, Jay-Z, the president of Rock Nation Sports, he's got Miguel Cotto. Miguel Cotto's a Rock Nation fighter. And, of course, Oscar has got Saul Canelo Alvarez. Now, these two guys are going head-to-head in a co-promotion next week. And they both bet $100,000 on their guy. But fear not, whoever wins, they're getting it. The money will be donated to a foundation. So in other words, if Canelo wins the fight, Jay-Z will donate $100,000 to Oscar's efforts with the White Memorial Medical Center's cancer unit. And should Cotto win over Canelo, then Oscar will be donating $100,000 to the Sean Carter Foundation. So a couple of guys with a lot of money betting, and the outcome is a good cause. So I'm excited about that. One other thing I wanted to say, actually two other things, three things. The WBC, I'm very critical of them with some of their shenanigans and stuff like that, and their discussions of how they act like, boxing, they're boxing, but this is another one. They say they want to bring back the prize fighting aspect of the sport of boxing, and they're proposing that the fighter who wins gets some kind of a bonus. I love the idea, but I wonder who's going to give them the bonus. Is the WBC going to tap into their sanctioning fee money and pay the fighters, or is this just something that they're going to try to, get somebody else to pay for and take the credit? That's my hang up with the WBC when they do these kinds of BS type of things. But it is a good idea. I will give them that. How about this fight that was just announced, taking place December 17th, another big one in December? It's going to be going between Luis Concepcion, 33 wins with 4 losses, 24 coming by knockouts, is going to be defending his WBA interim flyweight title against one of my favorite little guy fighters, Giovanni Segura, who's coming off some losses, but 32 wins, 4 losses, and a draw, 28 knockouts. This is one of those fights that no matter what, is going to be action-packed. Now, the co-main event is Jezreel Corrales, 18-1, with 6 knockouts, going up against Juan Rodriguez, who's 28-5, and that's in the super featherweight division. And the WBA is going to be kind enough to put their interim belt on the line as well. This is the last thing I wanted to talk about real quick. Joseph Parker. A lot of people look at Joseph Parker as being one of the up-and-coming heavyweights. We all got our eyes on him. Well, they announced today his next 2 opponents, and it's kind of got a connection here to the show. I called the fight where Daniel Martz, he's 6'7", he fights out of Virginia, where he got knocked the F out on a card that I did down in Florida by a 500 fighter. And it's a shame because Martz is a kid that wants to fight. He's willing to fight anybody. But, he doesn't have the proper training and, opportunities where he is in Virginia. His manager's name is Pat Nelson. And apparently December 5th, Daniel Martz, who's got a record now, 14 wins, 2 losses, and a draw with 11 knockouts, will be taking on Joseph Parker in New Zealand. And then they have another fight already scheduled for Joseph Parker, which, you got to assume they're not taking Daniel Martz too seriously, and they really shouldn't because Daniel Martz has a glass chin, and he's very limited, and I don't see Joseph Parker having to go more than 2 or 3 rounds with this guy. But then a month later, at the end of January 23rd, he's going to be taking on Jason Bergman. They call him the Iron Man. He is a tough fighter, Bergman. He's a southpaw, first southpaw that Joseph Parker ever fought, 25 wins, 11 losses, and a couple of draws. But here's the thing. Bergman is another one of Pat Nelson's fighters, So, I hate to say it, but it appears to me that Pat Russell, if you're a fighter and he's your manager, I wonder what his best interests are. I wonder what his primary interests are. He's putting both of his heavyweights in with a guy that, in my opinion, appears to have the skills to knock the crap out of both of those guys.
Wake up. It's time for It's too early for a trivia question.
All righty. Today's It's Too Early for a Trivia Question. Question is being brought to us by BrainHealthForever.com. www.brainhealthforever.com. Check out why it's the only patented brain-specific supplement on the market today. Make sure you visit www.brainhealthforever.com and read the testimonials and watch the video. Find out why Dr. Oz supports this product. Find out why I support this product and take one every day. Love this stuff. www.brainhealthforever.com. And also, today's It's Too Early Trivia Question is being brought to us by our pre and post Canelo Cotto fights. We're doing the shows. We are going to be live down at beautiful St. Simon's at Sal's restaurant. So we'd love to have you there. We're giving prizes away. The fight will be shown for free. So you'll enjoy that. And it's a beautiful area in St. Simon's. And not only that, but the food is second to none at Sal. So visit our website, www.billycboxing.com, and click on the fight poster to find out all the information about that. Now, if you can't be there with us and get the free prizes and eat the great food and watch the fight for free, then make sure you tune in and watch our pre- and post-fight shows live on the stream. We start the pre-fight show 1 hour prior to the pay-per-view going on air, and our post-fight show starts approximately 6 minutes after the official announcement is made. Today's It's Too Early for a Trivia Question. Question is a tough one. If you're the first one to email me the correct answer, Billy@TalkinBoxing, that's TalkinBoxing.com, you win a choice of some great prizes. Here's the question, and then the two hints will follow. What was the first televised fight that took place outside the United States to be shown in the United States? Which was the first televised fight outside the U.S. to be shown in the U.S.? I'll give you three hints today, all right? The first hint was that the fight took place between 1940 and 1960. The second hint is that this fight featured two boxing Hall of Famers fighting each other. And now the third hint, it was a world title fight. Now, come on now. There's a lot of hints right there. If you're the first one to email me the correct answer, Billy@TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com, you've earned the price.
This day in boxing history.
And finally, this day in boxing history is being brought to us by my book. That's right, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet. It's right here. Fits perfect in a stocking. I mean, everybody on your Christmas list should be getting Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet. Now, you could pick a copy of this book up right now by going online to Amazon.com or going to BarnesandNoble.com. Now, you can also get a copy by going into a Barnes & Noble or where all good books are sold. Now, if you're looking to get a signed copy, fear not. Just visit our website. Visit our website, www.billycboxing.com, and go into the book club section, and it's right there. You can order it right there under the comments. Make sure you put how you want it personalized. I'll be glad to sign it for you. And get your copies now for the holiday. Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet. It's a great read for all, not just boxing fans. On this day, November 13th in 1992, Riddick Bowe wins a 12-round decision over Evander Holyfield to win the World Heavyweight title. Took place in Vegas. On this day in 1999, Lennox Lewis wins a 12-round decision over Evander Holyfield to unify the world heavyweight titles in Las Vegas. On this day in 1975, Elisha Obed knocks out Miguel D'Oliveira to win the WBC World Junior Middleweight title. It took place in Paris, and it was the 11th round that Obed stopped Oliveira. On this day in 1965, Carlos Ortiz wins a 15-round decision over Ismael Laguna to win the world lightweight title. It took place in San Juan, Puerto Rico. On this day in 1999, Gilberto Serrano knocks out Stefano Zoff in the 10th round to win the WBA world lightweight title. It took place in Vegas. On this day in 1976, Danny Lopez wins a 15-round decision over David Cote to win the WBC world featherweight title, and took place in Ghana. And on this day, boxing was pretty much changed forever, and you could check out a decent article that was written by Coach, our man Coach K, up on BillyCBoxing.com. On this day, November 13th in 1982, Boom Boom Mancini, one of my favorite fighters, he defended his world title against Dooku Kim, and everybody got to watch this fight on television, on regular network television, and subsequently everyone also watched Dooku Kim sustain a beating in a fight that was actually back and forth for the early part of the fight, but a lot of things happened after this fight. Ultimately, Boom Boom Mancini's style was changed forever. Dooku Kim, as everyone knows, passed away from the beating he took. The referee ended up committing suicide. The mother of Dooku Kim did likewise, and Mancini was never the same fighter. Retired very young. Subsequently went and did an interview and met the fiance of Dooku Kim, who never got to meet his own son because he passed away as a result of this fight. But Boom Boom Mancini did meet his son. Check out the article that Coach wrote up on BillyCBoxing.com. But on this day in 1982, that famous fight that changed the sport forever took place with Boom Boom Mancini winning by stoppage, but losing in the long run, mentally and career-wise and everything else. So sad stuff. Boom Boom Mancini, one of my favorite fighters of all time, as you know, is inducted into the Hall of Fame and is now doing some commentating for True TV. So check that out. Check out the article. Anyway, don't forget we will be here on Monday, and we're shooting for Tuesday as well. But after that, we will not be back. We're going to be doing the Cotto Canelo pre- and post-fight shows. So I will be on the road doing those. You could tune into that. It just won't be doing this particular show. And then the holiday is the week after. We got Thanksgiving week. So our schedule's all messed up. So we're back to our normal schedule beginning November 30th. It's our new normal schedule. We will be going Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at this time slot. And we're going to try to mix in Thursday mornings, doing a morning show that not only will get you caught up on some boxing news, but also some other sports as well. It may not be a full 2 hours, but we will be doing that, and we'll be broadcasting right here as well. So we're trying to mix it up a little, and possibly, I'm going to give you a little update, possibly in 2016, we may be adding a show. So some stuff going on. Do me a favor, subscribe to our YouTube page. If you want to support this show, subscribe and become a premium podcast subscriber. It's only $15 a year, and you help us out. Plus, you guarantee yourself a show. And while you're at it, get 20 or 30 copies of my book, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet. And all kidding aside, you will not regret it. It's a great read. Hey man, enjoy the fights this weekend, and don't forget to tune in same bat time, same bat channel Monday. Until then, ciao baby.